All right, man. Welcome, everybody, to our Builder's Call. In my Shaolin priest temple mode with the shaved head. I'm probably more obsessed with it than you are. Anyway. All right, man. I'm fired up. Right now, there's just so much going on in the Alliance right now as far as the momentum that we have with building, with growing, with our attitude and mindset. It's probably, I don't think I've ever seen where we are today any time in the Alliance. Part of it is the new systems that are coming out, the new commission system, the new CRM system that's coming out with great anticipation, with the vision and purpose. I think that Andy's really spoken into the Alliance and all the top leaders with the premium financing thing that has totally solidified his commitment to us and his belief that we as leaders who are part of the premium financing program, that investment he's willing to make in us. And I feel so empowered now to go do everything I can to build the business for the Alliance, build the business for you, to help you do the same thing that we're all trying to do, and to really help you uncouple what you want to do, what you want to accomplish in your life from the things that are holding you back, the things that are dragging you down. What is true, what Stephen Davies said on the Alliance activity call about, the power of love. And it may sound like a strange thing that we talk about in the Alliance, the power of love and what it can do. It can do great things, and it's amazing what it can do. Whether you believe it on just even a secular level, if not a faith-based level, the power that can overcome anything, the power that love can overcome oppression, overcome the violent nature, I guess, or that can be out there, and the enemies that are against you, or the enemy that is against you. It's amazing. Sometimes our own enemy is ourselves. Let alone the enemy that's out there trying to, thwart our efforts. And it's amazing. All he has to do is just chink our self-image lower, lower, and lower, where we become our own enemy. And that's his game. His game is to make you forget that you are made in God's image, that you are a kid of a king, that you are part of a family that encompasses, God's dominion over the world. I know, heavy stuff, right? I don't mean to get that heavy. I just want you to know that here in the Alliance, what we're trying to do is to help you remember that you were born a 10. You were not born a 1. You were born a 10 on the self-image. You were born in God's image, which is a 10. And then what the world does and what the enemy does is knock that self-image down little by little by telling you, no, you can't do this. No, you're not worthy. No, you cannot. No, you will not. How could you ever think? Are you kidding me? There's no one like you can ever get to, all those negative programming that you have in your head. They say by the time you're 6 years old, you've heard the word no more than any other word in your life by the time you get to age 6. Imagine beyond that, how many times you've heard the word no. And one of the best people to take that word out of your vocabulary is Andy Albright, because he tells you continually all kinds of ways to remember that you were born a 10 and you need to act like you're a 10. You need to act like you are worthy. You need to act as if you act your way into a feeling. You act your way into a self-image. You can't wait until your self-image is a 10. You have to act as if your self-image is a 10. It's amazing how that works. You can totally act your way into your self-image by acting as if. It's amazing. Have you ever like bought a new suit and you wore that new suit for the first time? Or you bought a new dress and you wore that dress for the first time and it fits perfectly. It's the colors that make you feel good about yourself. And you go to Sunday service, you go to that wedding, and you're just like dressed to the nines. Don't you feel better about yourself? And it's amazing what a little thing like wearing a new suit or a new dress, how it makes you feel that, hey, I'm dressed up. I feel like I'm $1,000,000. It's interesting, kind of a corollary to that is like private schools. Why do private schools for children, elementary, whatever, why do they want to have their kids wear a uniform? Okay, I grew up in the parochial Catholic school system. There's a couple of things to that. The first thing is it baselines everyone. No one can have a better uniform than another person. They all have the same uniform. So everyone looks the same, treated the same, right? The other thing about having a uniform is when you look yourself in the mirror, it's like, you're all got your crispy uniform on. You feel like, hey, I'm part of a team. I'm part of a group. Makes you feel better. When you feel better, you feel worthy. When a student dresses up in uniform, they go to school because they know they're in their uniform to learn, to receive knowledge, right? So it's amazing how just a little thing like that can do wonders for how you feel and how you act. Remember, it creates a feeling, and that feeling creates an action, okay? So you can act your way into a feeling if you're not feeling particularly good about yourself, right? So action always is the thing that will take you to the next level on a self-image perspective. Like, imagine if you had the self-image of an Andy Albright. I mean, imagine what you do tomorrow. Like, if I had this great power to say, I wave my hand and like, okay, when you wake up tomorrow, after I wave my hand, when you wake up tomorrow, all the things that have held you back are gone. You have nothing that can hold you back from making this business whatever it is you want it to be for you and your family financially. So when you wake up tomorrow morning, what would you do? What would you do if you knew beyond a shadow of a doubt that all the things that are holding you back are gone? All the fear, all the self-loathing, all the unworthiness that you feel about yourself, all those things are poof. They're gone. What would you do? What would be the first thing you do? And it's a great exercise because imagine freeing your mind from all those things that are holding you back. What would you do with that feeling, with that knowledge? Because I waved my hand. It's a great exercise. I'd have you do the exercise and write down how different would you act? Obviously you'd feel empowered, right? You'd feel empowered. So what would you do with that empowered feeling? Would you do more? Like, would you do more in your business? Would you get leads and start dialing? Because all the fear of dialing goes away. The fear of answering objections goes away. The total belief that when you make dollars, you're going to book appointments. When you book appointments, you're going to make sales. When you make sales, you're going to make money. And you will also have served someone who appreciates you coming over there to their house. Would you pick up the phone? Would you believe in this so much that you would show this opportunity, you would share this opportunity with everyone that you knew? If you knew beyond a shadow of a doubt that the fear of what other people think about you is gone, would you create a list of all your family and friends or acquaintances or coworkers in the past that may need an opportunity? Would you not feel so reticent at putting a name on a list and, texting them out, our short How It Works video. Hey, I was thinking about you. This guy's hiring out of Ohio, or this guy's hiring out of North Carolina, looking for some people. I thought about you. Are you open for an interview? Part-time, full-time. Would you then feel more emboldened to do that? Would you feel more emboldened to do more, right? It's an interesting thought exercise, because what you just did, if you thought about it, is you did exactly what you can do, you are empowered to do, is to immediately make the decision that those things holding you back are no longer there, right? They're no longer there to hold you back. So that is one thing that I would ask you to do. Here's the other thing, the thought exercise. I'm big on thought exercises. It comes from my NLP background. It's called kind of future pacing. This one's a future pacing thing too. Andy did it actually on the TWC. What would you tell yourself a year from now to do differently, to be in a different place a year from now? Or how about this? What would have you told yourself last year, this time, to change where you would have been where you are now, right? Let's do another one. We all kind of suffer from regrets of the past. The things that we would have changed had we known better, had we had the experience that we have today, and how things have turned out because of a bad decision. If you had the opportunity to go back in time and tell that person, that 25-year-old that made that bad decision, what would you tell that 25-year-old, you at 25 years old, to do differently? What would have you told that person that's 32 that made that bad decision? Whatever that decision is, it could be relationships, it could be job, it could be business, it could be whatever, financial. Would you have told yourself, man, I shouldn't have bought that sports car when I was 21, where the insurance payment alone was like $800 a month, because that 21-year-old was in California, and that 21-year-old was trying to look good, to all the chicks out there in California. Gee, I wonder who I'm talking about. Would I tell that 21-year-old to make a better decision, right? So if you can go back in time, I'm sure there are different points in your life that you would have told that yourself at that age to don't do that, don't make that dumb decision. It's kind of like Back to the Future, right? What would you change? Okay, so this is not a thing on regret, okay? Because you are today where you are. Thank God. I thank God for everything I've been through, because today I'm much smarter. So now that you're much smarter and you've learned through those bad decisions and bad mistakes, okay, which is maybe the road that you had to walk, which is the road that I had to walk. But now I'm smarter today. Now through experience, I know the things I should have done better. So now that you know today, what are you going to do to change where you're going to be a year from now, 3 years from now, 5 years from now? What will you, 5 years from now, tell yourself today, hey, dude, you made a great decision. You rocked it when you said you were going to start building the business. You totally rocked the decision to get a GMR, to get leads on a regular weekly basis, because it was that decision that changed your whole outlook and work. That allowed you to free yourself to start working every week because you made an investment, a weekly investment in leads. That decision allowed you to get better and better and force you to get better and better so you can get the return on investment on leads. That was the decision that changed your business. 5 years from now, would you tell yourself, dude, that decision to start reading every day was why 5 years from now, that's why I'm 5 years from now financially free. Now I have 200,000 of overrides coming in with 150,000 coming in sales. It was because I changed my whole self-image and my knowledge and abilities because I started reading a book, a page or two, or I started reading 15 minutes, 20 minutes every day. I started, instead of listening to the radio, but putting in Audible and listening to a book audibly, or listening to the Alliance Media app when I'm in my car going from appointment to appointment. It was that decision that allowed me to be making $500,000 this year. It was that decision to change what I was doing. You see, you can be there 5 years from now. So imagine, what would you tell yourself today? You have everything that we've taught you as to what you need to do to be in a different place 5 years from now, 3 years from now, next year. We've given you all those things. It comes out of Andy's books, right? Comes out of the Bible. Okay? 8 Steps to Success, Millionaire Maker Manual, the House of Values I don't have within arm's reach. There are no secrets. Well, actually, there are secrets. There are books, you know. The decision to start attending all meetings, that was the key thing that I started to do in March 2019, was I made the decision not to miss anything. That was the decision that made me change my mind about things I was doing and helped me change what I was doing to get to where I am today 5 years later, 3 years later, 1 year later. What will be that thing for you that you will have changed today? And it can happen today. The little billionth of a volt decision to make that change, to make that tweak, can happen right now. Right now, to be committed. I always thought from the standpoint of what is the most I can do? What is the most I can do to change my life, as opposed to what is the least I can do to change my life? I mean, do you know what I mean? Do you ever think that if you ever went into a marriage, okay, what's the least I can do with maintaining my relationship with my wife to keep the marriage going, right? You don't think of it like that, right? What's the least I can do as a parent to my children to make sure my kids don't grow up screwed up, that they grow up as, you know, fine, productive citizens, a productive child of God out there living, you know, God's will. What's the least I can do to raise my children? What's the most I can do to raise my children properly? What's the most I can do to create a relationship with my spouse that will power through all the difficulties in a relationship, that will power through all the challenges that will come our way together? What's the most I can do? Don't you think like that with your family, with your spouse? Well, if you think like that with your family spouse, why not think about it with this business that is the foundation of supporting your family and spouse? What's the most I can do? You know, what is the most I can do? Think about my wife, Ginny, going through cancer. What's the most I can do as a husband to support my wife? What's the most I can do? What lengths am I willing to go to make sure that she's loved, making sure that she can heal in an environment, right? I picked up a lot more stuff at home. I mean, stuff that I really have to because her immune system is lower dealing with cancer, right? So I got to do all the stuff that could potentially make her sick. So I got to take all that stuff on without complaining. I don't complain. It's like, honey, what else can I do for you? What can I do for you to help make your attitude better about cancer so you can fight it with the full force of your positive mental attitude? What's the most I can do? I'll shave my head for you. You know, I think it's made a difference. At least it made a difference for me. It helped me empathize with her just a tiny bit, right? Just a tiny bit. That when you lose your identity to cancer, you don't have to lose who you are to cancer. You can lose your external hair. You can lose your, through a mastectomy, the way your body looks, but you never lose who you are, the child that God made you. How can I help her make sure that she knows that I look at her with as much love and with as much beauty in her that I looked at her on the day that we got married, right? It's so easy for cancer victims to look at themselves as less of a person, particularly when you lose your breasts, when you lose your hair. You start thinking, wow, I'm not me anymore. When in fact, she's more her than she's ever been. She's more the winner that I'm married than she's ever been going through this fight. And although cancer can take her hair away, it could take her body shape away, it could take rip everything about her that most people would hinge their self-esteem on. What she's done is she's used it as a way to make her know that she's a fighter and that she's a winner. By what she does is what makes the difference. It's not what she thinks about herself, it's what she does in spite of all those exterior things that don't mean anything. Tell you what, she rocks the cropped hair look. I mean, I shaved her hair off and it was like I was proud of her because she rocked that look, and she just like was looking at it and it's like, honey, you look beautiful. You look kind of butch. And she goes, yeah, I think so. I mean, she was just joking about it. And she's putting on the scarves and stuff. And she just wears it, man. She owns it. She walks out the house like, all right, man, I'm rocking the world. World, look out. Here I come. It just really, blows me away how she acts her way into a feeling. She acts her way into a self-image because of the way that she assesses her circumstances and then moves forward, right? There's a lot I've learned from her. Here's the other thing that I've learned. Andy talked about it on that MP3 I sent out. I hope you get a chance to listen to it because he talked about it there. And I talked about it actually when I was on the TWC. The things I've learned from her, the thing I learned from her is controlling your thoughts. You can imagine when you suddenly find out you have cancer by the secretary on the phone telling my wife, your results don't look good. We think it's cancer. It wasn't even the doctor. It was the secretary talking to her on the phone. I mean, imagine the fear that fills your heart, and filled mine. And all I could focus was on the fear. All she could focus on the fear. But what I learned from her was that when she focused her mind on not the cancer that could kill her, but on what she needed to do to take care of it, started focusing her thoughts on the cure, on what she had to do to fight, the tools she needed to fight, then the fear subsided to a certain extent, to a great extent. The fear is always going to be there, but the confidence in doing what she had to do to fight it on a very pragmatic level, without emotion. And I saw her do that. I started doing it too. I started thinking for myself, instead of fearing losing my wife, let's think about what can I do to support her? What can I do to provide for her and my family, which is my business, focusing on my business and doing things I need to do to support my family. Our deposits this week was just insane on our commissions. They're not going down since we're going through this. It's growing because we're going through it. Do you see how that is? It's not going down because we're focusing on it. It's going up because of it, because we're focused on the right things. It's created a laser focus on the things that we have to do to support our family, the things we have to do to overcome cancer, in order to make it happen. We're controlling our thoughts on the things that we need to do to get it done, not focusing on the fear, because focusing on the fear will just beget more fear. We focus on the positive actions that it will take to take care of that cancer. We focus on the positive things that we need to do to make our lives better a year from now. See, because we have to fight this over the next year. Her chemo, she's got 3 more chemo treatments. Then after that, she's got this hormone infusion thing she has to do the rest of this year, and then tamoxifen, I think, for the next 5 years. So we want to get to that 5-year point, which is what all the doctors say. If you get to 5 years and you survive, your survivability goes sky high after 5 years. Once you go to 10 years, okay? So when we look at this battle, we're looking, what do we want to say 5 years from now that we did today, March 2019, that we can say because we focused on that, she's alive 5 years from now. You see how that works in the case with cancer? Were we positive enough to overcome the negative part of cancer that could take your life, right? Are you controlling, did we control our attitude and mindset so we can beat cancer with positive mental attitude, right? The negative expectations, right? That the cancer could spread and grow all over our body, okay? Do you see how powerful that can be when you look in the future, what it could be in the past? Controlling your thoughts. I've learned controlling your thoughts is power, and you get to choose to control your thoughts by what you do, right? Your thoughts are manifested in your actions. So by taking action, it controls your thoughts. You're thinking about what you are doing. Try being double-minded about what you do, right? You can't have 2 thoughts in the same brain. When you're dialing the phone, you can't be thinking about all the fears. You're picking it up and you're dialing the phone. Dialing the phone gets stuff done. You're thinking about the action of dialing the phone. So controlling your thoughts, the number one thing I think coming out of this was not focusing on fear, but focusing on the actions to overcome cancer. So the second thing is that courage, the power of courage in your life. Courage is manifested by doing what you're supposed to do in spite of the fear. And we kind of talked about that, but it's a specific thing. You fight the courageous battle when you put action in, even though you're fearful. And in fact, what that does, that courage allows your self-image to go up because you know you can fight. You can fight it in spite of fear. Fear of the phone, right? Fear of what other people think about you, right? Fear about what you're going to say and do in an appointment. All those fears go away, are overcome by courage. Those fears still exist there, but by taking action, you don't let it overcome you. So I've watched Ginny fight the courageous fight every day, knowing that she's got another chemotherapy treatment 20 days from now, knowing that in a few days she's going to get hit with the sluggish, fatigue, knowing that she has to continue to work and continue to move around and not let it get the best of her. The courage to treat every action as a step towards her cure instead of thoughts that could take away from her cure. The third thing I learned from her is what the doctors told her, her oncologist, is that even though chemo will make you fatigued, you have to fight the fatigue and you've got to move around. You cannot sit on your couch and just be fatigued. You have to fight it because the fatigue is a symptom of the drug she's taken. Particularly, actually what I didn't understand was a lot of fatigue comes from the anti-nausea medication. The side effects of the anti-nausea medication, not so much the chemo itself, although the chemo has a host of other side effects, but the fatigue and sluggishness comes from the anti-nausea medication. And they told her, you you have to fight the fatigue and keep moving around. Keep moving, keep moving. Even though you're tired, keep moving. Because what keeps you moving is what will keep your attitude and mindset going. And I thought, man, how many times have we felt tired? Have I felt tired? Like, man, I just don't want to pick up the phone. I don't want to pick up the phone for this agent. I'm so tired. It's so late. But I do anyway. You do it anyway because you're supposed to do it. It's the right thing to serve people. It's to serve them even beyond your own physical limitations of fatigue and your motivation. When you do stuff in spite of all that. And I've learned that from her, man. Even though she's tired and she'll book appointments with our agents to do the lead call. She will, the lead training call. She will get on the phone. She will be on the computer doing all the lead stuff she needs to continue to do. Even though she doesn't feel like it, she physically just wants to go to bed. She fights it like crazy, man. It is inspiring. So you got to fight the fatigue with action. It could be mental fatigue, the mundaneness of dialing, feeling like, oh my gosh, I'm so sick of dialing. Fighting that fatigue and just keep picking up the phone. It's like that in the whole video. If you watch that video, and it was like, 2.5 hours of her dialing the phone. From beginning to end, you can see her energy level just get lower and lower and lower, except she amped up her voice so that she would still be, powerful on the phone. So in spite of her feeling physically tired of dialing, she kept her attitude right. It's amazing how attitude will overcome how you feel. Enthusiasm, right? God within will help you overcome all those feelings of fatigue. So you fight the feelings with action to continue to take action, which is a choice. So fighting fatigue by maintaining motion. It's like a shark will suffocate if they can't move through the water, because moving through the water keeps them oxygenated because the seawater going through their gills, right? This fourth one is amazing. She doesn't want to show any ounce of weakness to our children. She doesn't want to show them weakness. She wants to show them strength in fighting this as an example to our children. It amazes me. The only time she really ever cried was telling our kids that she had cancer, letting them know. We did a webinar actually with our 2 kids in New York. One of our children lives in New York City. The other one was doing a co-op up in upstate New York. And then the other ones were home. This is around Christmas time. The other 3 were home. And having to let them know that Ginny has breast cancer. And that was the only time that she cried. And the reason why she cried was because the other children were crying. They were just dealing with it in their own way. Not all of them. All of them dealt with it differently. She was more feeling for how they were feeling, how she knew that they were going to be fearful for her life, fearful for their mother. And it caused her great pain to see them going through pain, right? And that's the only time she really cracked in front of our children. That was the only time. All the other times, the kids would call in, hey, Mom, how you doing? How'd chemo go? She goes, it was fine. We just went through it, and not an ounce of weakness will she ever show. It's inspiring, even to me, like when I shaved her hair. Just a little bit, there's a little bit of emotion in her eyes, just a little bit. And then she cracked a joke, which is actually pretty funny, because I'm the funnier one in the relationship, although she'll disagree. She says my sense of humor is like really twisted. And anyway, but she cracked a joke, and it was like I was cracking up, and that the emotion behind her eyes just kind of went away. And but she won't show our kid weakness, because in spite of the cancer thing, that she wanted to show our kids that you can be strong too, No matter how hard things can go, whether it's physical, emotional, a bad breakup, stress at school, you could be strong too. If I could be strong in cancer, you can be strong too. It's a decision. It's a decision, despite whatever odds. It's a decision to be strong. You could decide to be weak. It was her decision to be strong. She doesn't show weakness, man. I mean, again, amazing, amazing. She cries when she has all this outpouring of love by people sending her gifts, unsolicited. I mean, she got gifts of some head scarves from someone from Amazon, like it came in an Amazon box, and it didn't show who it was from, just anonymous gifts. I go to church every morning, and some ladies will come up to me and give me a gift for Ginny. I mean, she cries at the compassion other people have shown her. It gets her emotional because she feels the love from the Alliance, from Jane Albright, from all the top ladies that have sent her flowers and gifts, kind words via text. She's overwhelmed. That's what gets her emotional. But dealing with this thing, man, she's like, come on, bring it on, cancer. I'm going to beat you to a pulp. Love her attitude. The other thing I learned, the fifth one, is laugh. Laughter cures a bunch of stuff, man. Laughter is great medicine for anything you're going through. If you can laugh at it, then you take it seriously, but if you can laugh at it, you can show that it has no control over you. We crack up at all the things that we can make jokes about shaving the head, about everything about it. We just crack up. I told the story on TWC. When she was getting over her double mastectomy, we were having this meal chain of kind people, our friends that would come and bring meals every day during her recovery from her surgery. And my daughter from New York flew in for about a month to be with her. And so she was serving this casserole, and she asked my wife, so Mommy, how much do you want? And Ginny said, I'll just take one breast. And I chimed in immediately, don't you need two? And we all just broke out laughing, like a real belly laugh, which is just so good for the soul. We've learned to laugh at all kinds of stuff about this. And it's amazing how humor can, in spite of fear, in spite of feeling bad about yourself, can put everything in perspective. I think that's the biggest thing. Humor puts things in perspective. How can you feel bad when you're laughing? I defy you to feel bad while you're laughing. Laughing seems like an instant cure. The sixth thing I learned, try saying that 3 times fast, is that part of her maintaining her life after cancer is to keep to a calendar. So her calendar, she still adheres to her calendar, like when she needs to take kids here and there, if she feels up to it, or when I have to substitute for her. So she'll write in that I'm taking Izzy to school. If we can't do it, we have to make arrangements if she's not feeling good. But she keeps to her calendar. She wakes up, looks at her calendar, what do I need to do today? It focuses her on her action that she needs to do every day to beat cancer, to maintain her life, to continue a schedule of normalcy that keeps her game on, keeps her on track, right? She keeps a calendar and she sticks to it. And that is where a year from now, when she's beat this thing, 5 years from now, when she beats this thing, is that she'll look back and it's like, I kept my calendar, baby. I put stuff in there that I needed to get done. I got it done, and I felt better about myself and where I was going in the future. Every tick mark of the things I got done today on my calendar is another tick mark up the level of self-image. You feel better when you tick, 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 got these things done, even though you got some other things you didn't get done, but the things you got done you could be proud of because it helped you move forward another step in your life towards where you want to be a year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now. So she's kept to her calendar, man, and that's one thing that she doesn't mess around. Here's the other thing that we learned, the seventh thing, is when you're feeling unsure about what you're going to go through, you find out the experiences of others that have walked the same road successfully. The first person I called when we heard the news was Jane Albright, because Jane had gone through non-Hodgkin's lymphoma years and years ago, a long time ago, 20 years ago. But she beat it. And I called her right away because I didn't have anyone else really to call that had been through it. You know, there were people, but I felt like I'd reach out to her. Thank God, because she made me feel better. She made me feel like everything was going to be okay. She put everything in better perspective for me. And that was the thing I needed from her, someone who'd been down the road to keep how I was feeling in perspective. Ginny started talking to people that had been through it, and they put everything in perspective for her because they survived it. I talked to James Coleman, because Angie Coleman, his wife, had been through exact same thing, double mastectomy, reconstruction, chemo, the whole nine. And James, he's been talking me through the feelings of being the spouse of your spouse that's going through it, and he's helped me. People that have been down the road, see, their hindsight is your foresight. Their hindsight is your foresight. It makes me feel much more confident that if we march through the same minefield that they already paved the path through, that we're going to come out on the other end just like they did. And that was one of the major things that we've learned, or reinforce what we've learned, is let someone's hindsight be your foresight to talk to someone who's been through what you're going through. We in the Alliance have been through any success in the business, have been through what you're going through. I don't care what you're going through. We've all had the same feelings of doubt, fear, inadequacy. Everyone's doing it, but maybe this just won't work for me. We've all been through that. And we can help guide you through that path. And there's so many other people in the business that will help guide you through that path. If you can't relate to me, I can hook you up with someone you can relate to that could tell you everything's going to be okay. And that is the message, isn't it? When you talk to someone that's been through it, all you want to know is that it's going to be okay. If you continue doing what I did to get through it, you'll come on out of the other end just like I did. Successful with it, cured. Letting someone else's hindsight be your foresight. That's one of the major things that reinforces us going through cancer. Sometimes you have to go through something like this to understand the lessons that you already know and that you can get tremendous value from, right? Okay, this is 7A. Sometimes you have to make the hard decisions to get what you want. Sometimes you have to do what you don't want to do in order to get what you want. See, the wanting to do, no, you have to do it, but you don't want to do it. So, her type of cancer was stage 1A. So it was not stage 4, thank God, but it was treatable. It had not spread into the lymph nodes. At the time, we didn't really totally know that it didn't spread in the lymph nodes. But they give us the choice. You can do a lumpectomy where you can just cut it out and then get radiation, and then you're done. Or you could do chemo for 6 months, shrink it, then do a lumpectomy, because typically it'll shrink to almost nothing, then do the lumpectomy, right, and then radiation, okay? She decided, and then, you don't have to do reconstruction because basically you would look the same. You just do a lump, pull it out, and done deal. Well, the harder decision was to go full-blown double mastectomy. bilateral is what they call it, where you just get rid of both breasts because you don't want to deal with it in the future. And that was the harder decision for her. Well, I would say the hard decision. For most people, it'd be a hard decision because it would alter the way you look. You have to do breast reconstruction later. But when she looked at all the benefits of doing the harder thing, it helped her make that decision. She looked at the benefits, not what it would take, right? And double mastectomy is major surgery, and then the reconstruction is major surgery. It takes 8 weeks to recover from that. It took about 3 weeks to recover from the double mastectomy. So she's got more to deal with. Her journey is a longer journey because of it, but she made the harder decision because for her, in her mind, it would get to be a cure where the reoccurrence would go down, minimal reoccurrence of cancer. And the type of cancer she had was the kind that had a higher rate of reoccurrence because of the type of hormone that it feeds on. All right, I'm not going to educate you on that. But she wanted, because of those things that were looming in her mind about it, she decided to go the full double mastectomy, reconstruction, longer time in recovery. The one thing she didn't have to do is radiation. Radiation sometimes can be worse than the chemo or whatever, right? Sometimes it's one or the other. Anyway, so she made the harder decision, but it's the best decision for her. It was the best decision for the long-term outcome. And sometimes you got to make the harder decision. You got to make the harder decision because it's the right decision. It's the best one to get where you want to go. Sometimes you just have to step out on faith, not by sight, and know that because others have done what I've done, to put a GMR in when you don't think you could turn the money back on it and just do it, to put you in a position to have to work, sometimes that is the key decision. Many of our top producers, if you ask them, the key decision was putting a GMR in. And then what was the next decision? It was doubling my GMR investment. There's like two things, starting a GMR and then doubling their investment in their GMR. Scary, but it's the thing that they had to do to make it happen. Like it was long-term. See, there's a difference between short-term decisions and long-term decisions. Short-term decisions will take care of the immediate need, but many times to the detriment for long-term success. By putting a Band-Aid on it now will never get you what you want long-term. It will just keep that long-term success that you desire. You keep pushing it out. The Band-Aids will continue to keep you where you are, not put you in a position of moving forward. So that's why you have to you got to suck it up and make the decision now. Make the hard one now so that your future is bright, right? Here's the other one, number 8. That was 7A. Okay, so this is number 8. Learning to accept help. Learning to accept help. I've learned watching her is that sometimes you have to let people help you. It's good for them and it's good for you. It's a double powerful thing that you can do is accepting help. Not letting your ego be in such a state that you don't want to accept help. What do I mean by that? Well, when we first heard about the cancer, I just really wanted to circle the wagons around our family and just keep it private. I don't know why. That was my initial reaction, dealing with the fear, wanted to keep it private. I asked Ginny how she wanted to handle that. She said, you know what? I'd rather get prayers than privacy. I'd rather get prayers than privacy. She wanted as many people praying for her as possible, regardless of being the latest cancer victim on someone's prayer list, like my own. I've got my cancer prayer list, and it was shocking to think that Ginny is now part of my cancer prayer list. Like, obviously at the top of the list among all the other people that have cancer that I'm praying for. But being able to accept help from anywhere and everywhere, people that'll help you, that want to help you. People that suggest herbs and holistic treatments, to people that, just whatever help they want to give, bringing food over, whatever. Being such that your ego, submitting your ego of wanting to handle everything on your own, by opening up and being vulnerable to everybody that wants to help you. And that's really important, because what it comes down to is you can't do this on your own. You can't fight cancer on your own. You can try, but the benefits of allowing other people to help you is huge. In fact, when we opened it up, it was amazing how many other people have walked the same road, how prevalent cancer is. Well, for all you women out there, it's 1 out of 8. Did you know that it's 1 out of 8 that you're going to have breast cancer? That's just breast cancer. 1 out of 8 women. So if you are in a room of 8 people, 1 of y'all is going to have breast cancer. Thank God that we bought a cancer policy 12 years ago. We bought a family cancer policy. Did we ever think we're going to activate it? Who knows? That's the nature of cancer, or the insurance. You don't know. But I think back, man, what a smart decision I made 12 years ago to get an awesome cancer plan. And now 12 years later, it was a return of premium rider 2 on it, which rocks. Little I know that $155 a month would come back and be a tremendous benefit to us to fight this evil disease. Does that make sense? The ability to let your ego go and accept help from other people that wants to help you. See, the problem with me is I'm a firstborn. Most firstborn in a family never had a brother or sister to show them how to do anything. We had to do it on our own because we don't know any different. And so the problem with us that are firstborn is that we tend to do stuff on our own. We don't need anybody's help. My knuckleheadedness of being that has kept me from being further along in the business. I need to ask Andy's help more. I need to not try to figure out everything on my own, because I can't possibly. Again, wanting someone's hindsight to be my foresight, right? So, man, this just totally reinforced that lesson of being of letting the ego go so you can accept help. Here's a 9th thing, and this is more specific to the Alliance family. When you're going through stuff at work, if you're in a job, if you've ever gone through stuff, I don't know if your other fellow coworkers that you invite that you send Christmas cards to, I don't know if they're as invested in showing their love and support of you if you're going through something rough, right? Here's what I know about being in the Alliance family is that we are a family. And one thing that this whole experience for Ginny has taught me is the outpouring of love of being in a family like the Alliance family that's going to be there for you no matter what. We'll take over your business if we need to help you get through whatever you're going through. It's amazing to me. I don't know if anything else that exists out there, maybe church. We've got a lot of outpouring from church, but nothing as personal, nothing as impacting to our family's income and our business than the outpouring of love and support that we've had in the Alliance family. Really starting with Jane and Andy Albright, the #1 supporters of us going through this. Man, how many CEOs would be personally invested in helping you get through it by I can't even tell you all the great things they've done for us, right? If you're going to go through anything, man, I pray that you're doing it as a member of the Alliance family, because it's the Alliance family that will help you no matter what. And all these things that I've learned, the undercurrent through all this is the culture at the Alliance. Man, this is where you want to be when you're going through all the stuff you're going through. It doesn't have to be cancer. It could be anything. Cancer is just our situation. Yours is yours. It's as important to you as cancer is to us to deal with. It could be a low self-esteem. It could be being abused as a child. It could be everyone telling you no, that don't believe in you, right? It could be other addictions you're going through, whether it's alcohol, drugs, whatever is vice that's holding you back, right? It's broke-mindedness, not thinking about money in a wealth manner, thinking about money as a broke person thinks about it versus thinking about it as a wealthy person like Andy Albright, right? There are all kinds of things holding you back. One thing for sure is I know, going through this cancer thing with my wife, Ginny, is that we have everything here to help you learn how to get through it. It is your own thing to get through, but you're going to go through it with every amount of support here in the Alliance family. And that is one thing that's been reinforced, that no matter whatever we're going through, whatever you're going through, is that you got people that love you and will support you no matter what. You are not alone. You are not alone. I think, man, God has put you here for that very reason, so that you're in an environment and a culture that will show you God's love through all the things that we're doing to help you. We believe that we are a manifestation of His love for you by everything that we're doing to help you, right? And man, I don't know of any place I'd rather be than going through this than in the Alliance family. So, man, thanks Andy Albright, Jane Albright, for giving us this awesome business to be able to thrive and grow, to teach our children what it takes to be a winner in life, to do God's will in their life with every fiber of their being. So gang, man, I hope you understand that you can do this if you reach up for help. No matter what you're going through, that you can do this business because we love you and we will help you. We'll do everything we can to help you. I promise. And Andy Albright and Jane Albright make that promise to you as well, man. So thanks, everybody. I hope you learned from this. I continue to learn from this. And man, any other insights, I'll definitely share it with you because I'm humbled by it. And man, I love my wife, Ginny. She's definitely the stronger gender. Women are the stronger gender. And man, I appreciate that she can teach me these lessons so I can help you. So man, God bless, rock on. Let's do this thing. Let's kill it. Everything's there for you if you take advantage of it, man. God bless.